Orlando, Florida, I believe. Currently, Orlando, Florida. He has a very powerful story. Everybody, get on your feet for Goal Director Dave Peters!
Thank you for having me back. I just love to be with you all because it's so inspiring. You get to meet each one, you have a little story to tell, everybody gets a chance to talk, but we learn so much. And it's the inspiration that goes back. And first thing I have to do, as you probably know, is that I have to tell you that nothing that I'm going to tell you, okay, is medical advice, right? Nothing that I'm going to tell you tells you that anything that we consume, our USANA nutritions and so forth, are going to cure, protect, or otherwise improve your health.
You're lying.
You bet. And one of these days, hopefully real soon, right, under the new administration, we're going to be able to tell people exactly what our nutrition does. All right. So I'm going to give you a chance now. I have the privilege of telling you a real success story, and I'm going to introduce to you USANA associate Len John. Len John is 78. Len John is an Alaska native. Len John is a pastor, and his passion is to preach the gospel. There's Len. Len is a super guy, really extremely inspirational. But when I met Len, he was laid out on his couch. Mila introduced me to him. He says, "Dave, you gotta go. You gotta come and see Len." He's laid out on his couch. He's in so much pain. His back hurts, his shoulders hurt, his depression's in. He's got everything wrong, and he can't stand up long enough to preach. Can you imagine that? If your passion is to preach the gospel, and you cannot stand in front of with people and get out with his disciple, with his church, right? And he's a traveling preacher, okay? Because the villages are very far away, and you have to travel, get on airplanes and so forth. And good old Len John, we talked to him, we got him on a health pack, and he got healthy, and he got back to what he loved to do. He got healthy, he got energy, and he was back into preaching. As a matter of fact, John, you just met him last summer, I believe.
In Vancouver.
Yeah, in Vancouver, okay? And he was preaching. So, this last fall, Len calls me up. He says, "Dave, I got the diagnosis." He says, "I've got interstitial fibrosis." Len is a Vietnam vet. He was exposed to Agent Orange, and he was exposed to asbestos. And interstitial fibrosis is where you get the fibers that grow inside of your lungs, and it basically chokes you to death. I say, "Len, let me think about this one, and I'll get right back to you." And I got on the phone, and got on the line with Dr. Ladd, and I said, "Dr. Ladd, what about this one?" We don't have a direct protocol for this, but I know Len, and I know what we need to do. So he gives me some ideas, and I can't tell you about them because I'm not going to prescribe or diagnose or anything like that. We'll put it together. I know I'm going to put some more extra things together and put together a program. And he goes, "Dave," Len says, "Thank you. I'm going to do it because I trust USANA." Two weeks ago, Len John called me up. He says, "Dave, I just saw my doctor. He said the fibers stopped growing." And this is a picture when he was at David and Gwen's USANA event in Alaska just a couple of weeks ago. So if you're up in the Northwest and so forth, you're going to hear from this man again. Okay? He's got a lot of energy, and he's going to be out there preaching the gospel to everyone. But he is a true believer in USANA. And like Lynn, as we agreed, is that we know that God answers prayers. Right? He just chooses how he's going to do it. Right? In my experience, I find that God answers prayers, or Jesus answers prayers, right? By putting people into our lives. Right?
Amen.
And we can affect the lives of many other people because we are his tools. By just telling people about USANA and what it can do, okay, or what it does, right? And then they are able to take their lives and improve the lives of others. Think of how many people you can touch. And the whole thing comes down to trust. Trust is very, very important. And I want to challenge you about your personal trust in USANA. I know that I have to let you know, my girlfriend introduced me to USANA in 2016, and I've been on USANA 9 years now. But I was a wreck before that, right? And in November of 2016, I committed to become an associate. And the reason why I committed to become an associate is because nobody was going to take my USANA away from me. Right? I don't know about how many of you have ever contemplated being a prisoner of war. All right? But I have. Okay? I'm a Vietnam vet. Okay? I joined the Air Force, and I had a great 29-year career, and I retired 21 years ago. And I did marvelous things in my career. I'd love to be able to. We need more here. Talk about that stuff. But let me tell you that I have lots of stories, but the reason why I'm here is because my most recent story. Oh,
Go back two.
Go back two?
There you go.
There we go. All right. This is me. This is me on the 2nd of January of this year. That guy's not holding his head real well. He's not controlling his arms real well, and his legs aren't working. I had a stroke. I had a big stroke. And the whole time I'm in that position, I'm thinking, I know what to do. But it took a while to get to the point of convincing the doctors that I needed to be out of the hospital in order to take care of myself. One of the things that drove me, okay, was that after talking to you all in November of last year, USANA asked me to talk at the Vision Summit. And the Vision Summit was in January, right in the middle of January. And this is the 2nd of January. I had to get up, and I was going to be there. So the key was knowing what supplements to take and in order. And of course, I got in touch with Dr. Ladd, right? He was here in November. Any of you didn't make it, and so forth. You missed a great presentation. You got to know Dr. Ladd. Get on his Dr. Ladd VIP and get access to his protocols. All right? So I get with Dr. Ladd, I get my protocols, I've got my products, and I have to apologize to my wife and my daughter for scaring the shit out of them. Okay? So we get done, and they had to wheel me through the airport in a wheelchair, but I remember this. I remember getting to the Vision Summit. I did a lot of sitting, but I did a lot of learning too. Was that when it was my time to talk, I got up, stood up, walked over to the stairs leading up to the platform. And I'm looking at those stairs. I'm looking at those stairs and I'm going, there's no rail. There's like 3 steps. I got to get up there. All right, Dave, we can do it. We can get there. So we step up. 1, 2, and 3, and I get onto the stage. Now, if you were at the Vision Summit, you may or may not have appreciated the issue with the notes and the microphone. But my major concern wasn't the notes or the microphone. Of course, they had challenged me to talk about something that I wasn't comfortable about talking about. They wanted me to talk about promotions, how to get promoted in USANA. And I concentrated on doing that. But I'm up there on the stage, you know what I'm concentrating on? Not falling. Not falling. And sure enough, I didn't fall, and I got back down, and I got back, and I got to the airport, and I got home, and I started, and I had all my USANA with me, my whole protocol and so forth, and I'm taking it and taking it and taking it and taking it. And we'd already qualified for the March trip to Hawaii. I'm going to take my family off to Hawaii. And so we said, okay, the next goal is I'm going to walk through the airport. You know what I did? I walked through the airport. And I'm taking my products and I'm getting better. Right? And just last Friday, I had a meeting with my neurosurgeon. He says, how you doing? I says, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. He says, you had a major stroke, and you're doing fantastic. And we only have a little bit of hearing loss and so forth in this as it's going. And it's just wonderful that you've been able to do that. And you're about 98% back to where you were. And I need to tell you that because I trusted USANA. I had to force myself out of the hospital so I could give myself the care that I needed, because I knew the care I needed was my USANA optimizers and my health packs. I had to get them. And I'm good. All right. So sharing that out, I've already got my tickets for next year in November. Okay. And I've been kind of quiet in this, in USANA as I've concentrated on my recovery, but I wanted to be sure to be here to help you, to understand that take the time to know your products, know what they can do, talk to people who know better, right? And you will find that your health and the health of the people around you will be so much better. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Love you all.
Thank you, Dave. One more round of applause for Dave Peter! Wow. Man, I had no idea that 10,000 is the whey shake, 0 is the probiotics, 1,000 is collagen.
I can't see anything, so here we go.
Okay. Oh! No prize for you! They pissed our note. Okay. Alright. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh!
100.
You're actually lucky, that fella. Okay. Let's try again here. See if you can get it. Okay,
Yeah.
toothpaste, everybody.
Ah.
Congratulations. All right. All right. All right. Let's see what you got here. Yeah.